Hi, JP Fournier of the Movie Jerks here, bringing you another random review. This week, I had a friend who was a little concerned about the list I use on my show. I have a list here of over 3,000 movies that I have never watched. His concern was that may have filled the list with some of the worst movies that are out there. And that's probably true. You see, this is a list of the movies I have never seen before. I try to watch the good movies in my life. Most people do. So the list is going to consist of a lot of films that I probably avoided, never tried to watch because of obvious reasons. That being said, I did go over the list and I found out that I was shortchanging myself because I didn't put in my Criterion collection. I didn't put in the Kino Lorber films. I also didn't put in the film movement movies. These are good films, artistic films that get a lot of awards, and I've avoided them. So I have corrected the list. So now there's over 5,000 films. A lot of classics have been added to it. So let's see if I can get a Criterion collection for this week. So we're going to give it a spin, press the poster button, and the 4 movies that come up are the 4 I'm watching. I got It's Pat. Fuck. Okay, so it might be a Criterion one later on. What do we got? Martial Law 2, Undercover. Yeah. Itsy Bitsy. Doesn't look like a Criterion film. And we got Be Happy. Okay. Well, maybe that's a message to me for the 3 films that came up before this. It's Pat. Upon its release in 1994, It's Pat was an instant failure and is still considered one of the worst movies ever made. Now, to understand why It's Pat failed, I think we need to look back at the sketch it originated from Saturday Night Live and see what worked. Originally, the character of Pat was designed to make fun of an annoying coworker, and the androgyny was only an afterthought. And this is how the first sketch played out. But when Pat returned, the focus was not on how annoying the character of Pat was, but on how those around Pat were so determined to find out if Pat was a man or woman.
Or, maybe you could wait till you're 60 to start a family. Could you?
Well, before I start a family, I need a special someone.
While the initial joke was about Pat's appearance and social ignorance in catching or understanding social cues,
I don't want you to think I'm creepy.
the jokes soon switched over to Pat's innocence and freedom of stereotypes.
Why don't you tell me what you're going to wear tonight, and that might help me out.
It's a formal event.
So I guess that means you'll be wearing...
Black, all black.
And those who are uncomfortable in their need to place someone in a category. We get jokes of people's desperation to find out what Pat's sex is, and we also get people who want to know because they don't want to offend Pat. The strongest jokes were not punching down on Pat, but poking fun at society's expectations. The film only displayed a lack of understanding of what made the sketch great. Instead of building a character who lives life unrestrained by stereotypes, we get a character that is repulsively arrogant, self-centered, and stupid. The film reuses scenarios from the sketches, but without the jokes that reveal the biggest laughs. The humor of the film went back to poking fun at Pat's appearance.
What the hell are you anyway?
The jokes now focus on Pat's inability to function as a regular human being. And we also get a scene where a man tries to sexually assault Pat. How classy. It's Pat is an unpleasant watch, and it deserves every negative criticism it received. Martial Law 2, Undercover. This is Cynthia Rothrock. When it comes to action, she is pretty spectacular. Back in the 80s and 90s, straight-to-video genre films tend to focus on violence towards women. However, a Cynthia Rothrock film highlighted a talented lady beating the shit out of criminals and creeps. Even today, she's highly regarded as an iconic action hero. So why wasn't she a box office smash? Well, because most of her American straight-to-video films were poorly written, badly acted.
Why don't we try you out tonight, see how you do, and we'll work from there, okay?
Great.
George, why don't you show her around? Make sure she knows what she's doing.
Had lousy production values and low-level directing. However, in these martial arts cheapos, there is still some fun to be had. Most of them share the same common traits that are fun to point out and spot in each film. For starters, everyone, and I mean everyone, seem to know some sort of martial arts. The second thing to look out for is fights that break out for no apparent reason and have no effect on the actual plot. Like this scene where 3 men attack one of our protagonists during his training, and after he beats the crap out of them, it is not mentioned or talked about again in this film. These films always have scenes of men fighting shirtless and for some reason greased up. And fights break out in warehouses all the time. And lastly, my favorite, which shows up in a lot of Cynthia Rothrock films, chauvinistic pigs that think they can beat up a lady because she's a lady get taught a valuable lesson about stereotyping. This straight-to-video beat-em-up film is not a classic, but if you watch this with a good group of friends that can enjoy the characteristics of a goofball B film, this can be fun. Itsy Bitsy. A single mother who is struggling with the loss of her child is also dealing with a drug addiction that's overpowering her need to escape from the emotional pain. Her son is desperate to find a parental figure, and her youngest daughter is being left alone with no guardian. It'll take a miracle to get her back on her feet. Or maybe just a 1,000-year-old cursed relic that summons a giant venomous spider and murders people. That should do it. Itsy Bitsy leans heavily on the troubled mother and her continual neglect of her 2 surviving children. Even before the arrival of the spider, the kids are dealing with a deep, dark, sad situation. Will the mother get her shit together to be able to save her kids from this giant spider? One thing I'll give Itsy Bitsy is that the practical effects on the spider are pretty cool. But they are discredited once we see the CGI effects that are no more convincing than the storyline. In the end, this film that gives itself a cute title like Itsy Bitsy is just a sad and depressing film that even attempts a cliched tear-jerking end.
I love you.
Be Happy, the musical. Okay, I'm just going to come out and say it. I have no idea what this movie is about. Sure, the synopsis talks about 2 lovers separating while one lover is addicted to Grindr, and that somewhat happens in this film. But what Be Happy gives us is a couple people talking, often incoherently, and it doesn't sound like their conversation matches.
You know, Joanne's a real ace. Sometimes you have to be half crazy to chart a new path like he has.
Indeed. Have a nice night. People don't notice whether it's winter or summer when they are happy.
Then it's followed by a song that's somewhat connected to what they were talking about, I guess.
Be happy to imagine a bright new morning when the sun will shine on you.
Then we get another pair of characters. They talk incoherently.
You encouraged us when that funny Chinese guy got in touch. The Chinese are very clever.
Followed by another song.
So shake it, oh shake it, baby. So shake it, oh shake it, baby. So shake it, oh shake it, baby.
Another character, new song, more characters. Characters are introduced. Well, characters are not really introduced as much as they just appear. As this is the pattern of the film, I completely lost track of what the story was about, if there is a story in there, and tried concentrating on the music. Now, the singing is great. These people can sing. They really do have some talent here.
I love you.
However, the songs start to bleed into each other, and I could barely recognize one song from the next, unless they were outrageous songs that were trying to be funny.
I like to see my rocket flying high.
The naughty cheek.
With a penetrating sound. When a rocket's set ablaze, all the boys tend to go round, screaming loudly in a craze. Ah! With a penetrating sound. When a rocket's set ablaze, all the boys tend to go round, screaming loudly in a craze. Ah! Our neighbors from the rooftop
Who
once
invited
caught
them
us
again?
passing by.
The reason why the conversations come out so incoherent and insincere is because each character has to shoehorn in some famous quotation in their conversations.
The whole world is a stage, and all the men and women are merely actors.
I have watched this film a couple times now, trying to grasp the whole concept of it. And as the film goes on, it starts becoming somewhat hypnotic. This is a strange, strange film. Now, I admit I do love eccentric musicals, but I also like coherency. I think it would have been better if they didn't call it Be Happy, but instead called it Be Confused. And there you have it, another 4 random reviews. If you have seen any of these films, we'd love to hear your commentary on them. If there is a particular genre of film you would like us to explore, let us know. If there's an obscure film that you don't think gets enough attention, let us know in the comment section, and we'll be sure to give that a review. And for more information about the Movie Jerks, you can go to www.themoviejerks.ca.